Horror Lies.
Hey guys, Rob from George here with you on a special Monday night fill-in for BDG. It is week 341 and it's what we're calling Label Week, man. We're checking out specifically this week films from Scream Factory. And as a fill-in, I'm going to be taking a look at maybe one of their better releases. This is such a phenomenal release by Scream Factory, but it is, of course, The Exorcist 3. What a freaking fantastic film. I revisited it tonight and actually with my son, and I was just reminded, man, on so many levels how freaking awesome this movie is. Now, this is a 1990 film and directed by the man himself, William Peter Blatty. And he wrote the original material for the original Exorcist, although William Friedkin directed it. Blatty, the story goes, Blatty would write a treatment for what would be a natural follow-up to The Exorcist, and the studio just sort of shirked at it. And so while they went on the heretic road, Blatty just turned his material into a novel and went that route. And well, when all was said and done, the studio system kind of realized their mistake, came back to Blatty and said, you know what, we want to revisit your treatment and we want you to direct. And seems like an absolutely stellar thing, right? Except, unfortunately, Blatty did not get to see his exact vision through. The studio, as we know, studio interference would basically inject itself in here. And so, but what we really do have here, and I'm going to get to this, man, this movie is freaking stellar. This is such a great movie. You've got the likes of George C. Scott playing Lieutenant Kinderman in this thing. He's a character that we do see in the end of the original Exorcist, as well as Ed Flanders, his character, Father Dyer, we also see at the end of the original Exorcist. So the story really comes back to two minor characters and makes them major characters for the Exorcist series, which is really good. Cool. Brad Dourif, man, plays the Gemini killer in this thing, man. He is freaking insane to watch on film. Jason Miller reprises his role from the original Exorcist and playing, well, we know him as Father Cares, but right in this movie, he's just known as Patient X. How freaking cool is that? And Scott Wilson, Walking Dead, man, he's in this thing as Dr. Temple. He's a psychiatrist, I guess, in the hospital, who Kinderman will link up with. And anyways, this is a Morgan Creek production, and I think 20th Century Fox had a hand in this as well. But man, we are talking label, right? Scream Factory put out a freaking insane release of this. That is the original artwork that we all know, love, and adore. And if you just open up this thing real quick, man, look at that beautiful stuff, man. Now I got the alternative disc is in right now. This thing has two cuts of the film, the theatrical cut that you would have seen probably, and the alternative cut, that which boasts of a kind of a more compressed end, right? And just a vision that is a little bit closer to Blatty's original intent. Maybe not quite as clean as a cut as we say the Fincher assembly cut for Alien 3, which is, aside from a few little minor hiccups, is a beautiful film to look at. The alternative cut is pretty rough in spots, but it does give you an opportunity to take a look at some of his original intent. So, but anyway, so Exorcist 3. Really, we have a film here, unlike The Heretic. This tries to be a natural follow-up to the original Exorcist. So you've got Kinderman, who's a lieutenant we see at the end of that film, and we see Father Dyer we see at the end of the film, those two, right? And they're close friends with Father Karras, who is, of course, the one who goes out the window, right? And ultimately, we find out in this film, has since been possessed by the Gemini killer, who had died in the electric chair, who Satan, I guess, had decided, you know what, I don't like the idea that Reagan has been exorcised, so I'm going to take this priest and I'm going to put my child, the Gemini, inside of him as he's going down the flight of steps. And we find out through some really, really awesome backdrop dialogue kind of stuff from Brad Dourif character, that he will basically be able to save Karras' life and really resuscitate him. And he'll still, be put in the coffin, as we hear, but he will come out of that coffin, man, and scare the living freaking crap out of the guy there at the funeral home, I guess. And he'll just kind of stumble off, and it'll be some time, and eventually somebody will catch up with him wandering on a beach, and he'll get put into this psychiatric ward in the hospital. And but after 15 years, he's ready to put Plan B into motion. And once he does, man, Kinderman, man, he understands there's something really, really odd here going on. And but man, so you got these killings that are happening, and that's what sort of brings Kinderman in, and that's brings Father Dyer together. And you sort of, the forces are at work here, and you kind of, get a really interesting vibe that really feels really super close to what that vibe in The Exorcist was. But it's a different film, and but from the hand of the original creator, which is really cool. But I saw this movie. This was released in August of '90. I went into the military in October of '90. So this was probably the last film I saw in the theater before I went into the Army. And I remember I lived in Western New York, and I remember traveling about 40 minutes up the road to Erie, PA to see this film. And I just remember it just absolutely knocked my socks off. This movie is so freaking good. It's even got a few moments where the scares, or at least moments where that are really genuinely, it just has a terrifying vibe to it. I mean, and what the Gemini Killer, as he is, of course, living within the body of Karis, as he's able to, I don't know, as a demon, jump out of there into the bodies of those, the elderly people there at the hospital, and basically, man, use them to go out there and do his bidding. And so it's just such an awesome movie. But I tell you, I think one of the best things I love about this movie is, and you don't get enough of it, but at the beginning, when you're introduced to Kinderman by George C. Scott, and you're introduced to the Ed Flanders character, Father Dyer, these two have a chemistry that is freaking unreal. They share some really, really cool, at the beginning, dialogue. Just stuff, but it comes off so freaking natural. It's just fun to watch. There's a story of Kinderman shares a story with him. They're going to see It's a Wonderful Life. It's what they do every year, in order to kind of like help each other out through remembering Karis's death, right? And so he's telling him the story about the carp that is swimming up and down his freaking tub because his wife is preparing to kill the carp and eat it, but because the fish, as we're told, has some impurities, they have to buy it fresh, and so they keep it in the tub. And so it's just a great story. It's a great story. But man, there's just some awesome scenes in this movie that are just so much fun. And I just had a blast revisiting this tonight and just remembering, because you're caught up in the hype of the moment, and you get the disc and you enjoy it and everything, but then you kind of put it up on your shelf and you just kind of forget just how great of a moment that was when you first got it and you open it up and you start digging in, you start seeing the stuff and all the extras and everything else. In fact, I watched a few of the TV spots as well, which is pretty cool. But man, yeah, Scream Factory, it's it's one of those labels, man. It's domestically here in the U.S., I probably got, I don't know, I'm looking at my shelf, I probably have 20-some Scream Factory releases. Among them, I got the Wreck box set, the It's Alive box set, the Halloween re-release box, Critters, The Burning. I'm just looking at a few titles. The Thing, of course, humongous. Not humongous, I'm sorry. The Thing back, let's see here. Motel Hell. I mean, there's a bunch up there. But anyways, Scream Factory, man. Some good stuff, man. Some good stuff. So, what else can I say real quick? And I'm going to close this down. It's late. Sunday night. It's just late. Brad Dourif's character, man, is so freaking... I love him as Brackett in the Rob Zombie films. But to go back and see him put on such a show like this, and he just pours so much crap into this. It's awesome to watch. George C. Scott's just a blast to watch. I mean, they all are. It's a great cast. It's a great cast. Trying to think, man, if they say anything. I just love this film. Absolutely love this film. This is a film I go to more than I would to the original Exorcist. I admire the Exorcist for what it is, man. It is, man, unparalleled. But man, just as a fun movie to enjoy the dialogue, just enjoy the story, enjoy just, I don't know, man. The Exorcist 3 is just, it's fun. It's fun to watch. So here on week 341, it is the beginning. Wasn't planned like this for me to kind of kick it off. This is BDG's day, and I'm going to hate not seeing what he would have talked about for Scream Factory, but he was unable to do this, so I stepped in last second and figured I'd run with some Exorcist. You can check me out on Wednesday and a regular review for Scream Factory again. This time I'll be talking about Dreamscape, Dennis Quaid and Max von Sydow and Christopher Plummer, right? And so that's pretty cool too. So, but throughout this week, man, we're gonna be getting some Scream Factory stuff, man. Just talking about the film and maybe a little bit about the label, and but just be aware, right? You got a bunch of guys on here gonna show you some films, and you might have seen them all, you might have known about them all, but maybe it'll be one or two this week that'll pop up. You go, you know, I haven't got that yet. I need to get that. Yeah. So, anyways. Man, hope you all have a great week coming up. Get back to work and everything. It's been a great weekend. Hopefully you all had a good weekend. And as always, we always end these things off with Go Bills.